Hey guys, Danny here. I hope you're all doing well. Today we are back with another e-bike review. I think this is my fourth e-bike review I've done on my channel so far. So please note this product was sent to me for free for review, and always if you'd like to pick it up, you can find a link down in the description. I have to say this wouldn't be my first choice of electric bike, especially based on its appearance and also its style. I think I would like a bike a little bit more substantial and a little bit more chunky, but it has made quite a nice change compared to the Engwe bikes that I've been reviewing, which are pretty hefty. They weigh more and have definitely a larger footprint. So this bike has 26-inch tires. It's using a 12.6 amp hour battery. You can see me removing it here. It's worth noting that I actually forgot that you can actually just fold the seat up to remove the battery. You don't need to take the seat off. While it is a small detail, I do like that you can simply fold the seat up to remove the battery. There's some e-bikes that I've seen where you do have to take the seat off. While it's not a huge deal, getting the seat to the correct height that you want it, sometimes you don't always remember exactly where you had it, so it's nice that you don't actually have to take the seat out to get to the battery. After you've used the key to unlock the battery, you will need to turn it on as well using the key. You'll see it has the power indicator and quite a big comfortable handle as well to carry it. You will need to have the key in the on position. As I said earlier, you can remove it once you have it in either position, and you need to push it in and down to unlock the battery. Any other position and the battery will be locked in place. Before I forget, I should also mention this bike does come bundled with a bike lock, which is a nice little extra addition. Now, while I wouldn't use this as a permanent lock, it's an extra handy one to have if you're really quickly going to be running in somewhere and you want to chain up the bike. I would recommend going for something more substantial for a permanent solution, but it's nice they give this to you nonetheless. This bike is weighing in at 27 kilos, a fair bit lighter than some of the Engwe bikes I've recently reviewed, so while it's not light, it does feel a bit more manageable than some of the bigger e-bikes. It does have front suspension and also springs in the seat, which definitely help. I actually get a bit confused, and you see me look back here because I don't actually realize at first there's suspension in the seat. While it might seem a little bit silly, it actually does work surprisingly well and makes the ride a little bit more comfortable even though you don't have that rear suspension. The bike has a rear rack which you could use for a bunch of different things. I didn't see a maximum capacity rating, there may have been one on there somewhere. And there is also a rear light which is unfortunately battery powered, meaning it's not hooked up to the main battery. A little bit disappointing. I would have liked to have seen this hooked up so you can turn it on and off from the handlebars. But here we have the rear disc brake. There is also of course a front disc brake, and the hub motor is on the back too, meaning the motor drives the wheel directly. This isn't a mid-drive. Seat is nice and comfortable. It is on a little bit of the cheaper looking side, but it's pretty chunky, and my friend said he found it very comfortable as well. Moving on to the front, again this bike is using 26-inch tires. We also have our front disc brake. Now I do recommend checking your brakes when you get this bike, as mine were a little bit loose, especially the back brake. They were enough to brake the bike effectively, but they just needed some tightening, so be sure to check yours too. And here you can see me turning the front light on and off using the button on the handlebars. Again, bit of a shame you can't do this with the back light too. There is also a derailleur, and we have this little guard for the chain, which is a nice little extra. It's not the best looking part of the bike, but it does provide some extra protection. And I did accidentally drop the bike, so there are some scratches here. I felt really bad about this one, but sometimes accidents do happen. Moving on to the handlebars, we have a really annoying sounding horn. We have our on and off switch for the lights. On the other side, we have our power button and the battery level indicator. Pretty basic system, but it does work. We have our throttle. This is a mini twist throttle. These are on quite a lot of e-bikes, and I don't mind them, they're pretty decent. And of course, we also have our 6-speed Shimano gear system. Put this through its paces, and I was pretty pleased with it. Unfortunately, there is no screen. This bike has a top speed of 15 miles per hour. Unfortunately, having no screen, you can't actually see what speed you're going or the distance you've traveled. So one downside of not having a screen, which I've become pretty used to having on most e-bikes that I've tested so far. And this does have pedal assist from gears 1 to 4. I have seen some reviewers say pedal assist works in gears 5 to 6 in some kind of eco mode. I couldn't really feel it, so whether it was working or not, I'm not entirely sure. And of course you have your throttle mode, so you can simply just throttle from standstill. This bike does come unlocked with full throttle starts. While this is not the fastest, most durable full suspension bike, it's pretty low-key, a bit more like a traditional bicycle. I even forgot to mention it does come with a basket, which I didn't fit because aesthetically I didn't really like the look of it, just being honest. But other than that, this bike is a pretty average performer, but for its price point, this was about what I was expecting, and I did actually enjoy riding it a lot more than I thought I would, and I found the ride comfort very good. The acceleration was still pretty fun, while not the fastest in the world. Here's a comparison to an Engwe that I recently reviewed. This bike handles very well on road and is capable of handling some light bumps pretty effectively, with the front suspension and seat suspension giving you just enough comfort to make the ride pretty nice still. But of course you wouldn't be using this for off-road, or I would definitely advise against it, especially since it's using smaller tires and doesn't have proper rear suspension. But for cruising around on the road, this is a very enjoyable, comfortable bike to ride, and for its price point, I don't think it performs too badly. As this is a more affordable bike, it doesn't feel cheap, but it does feel like there are some nice things that would be nice to have, but you don't have. One is a screen, as I mentioned earlier, and only having a 6 transmission gear system, it would just be nice to have a higher gear, because quite often when you're on this bike, it does feel like you're capable and you would like to go a little bit faster, but only having 6 gears, it does make it harder and you have to put in quite a bit more effort. This isn't a slow bike, however, and with a little bit of throttle coupled with some pedaling, you can keep up with quite a few e-bikes fairly well, as you can see I'm doing with my friend here. And also I think DYU has done a pretty good job of, how do I put it, getting away with not having a torque sensor, as I have used some substantially more expensive e-bikes that aren't using torque sensors, and I felt the pedal assist experience actually felt worse than this one. So the pedal assist on this, while you don't have the luxury of the torque sensor and it matching your input, I did quite enjoy using the pedal assist on this one, and it felt like it gave a little bit more matching power and didn't quite pull as aggressively and as slowly as some other bikes that I've tested. My friend who I'm riding with has also had experience with quite a few e-bikes, including building one for himself, and he said he did quite like the simplicity and the comfort of this bike, and actually preferred it to the one he was riding, which is my more expensive Engwe, which really surprised me. While I do like the Engwe better because it has a screen and some more features, I did quite like the simplicity of this bike too, and it definitely is more affordable, coming in at about half the price of the Engwe. And depending obviously what type of bike you're looking for, this could easily suit your needs, as it does most of what you need an e-bike to do, but just without some of the bells and whistles. I think this product would be a good entry-level electric bike for someone who is new to e-bikes and just wants to get something pretty basic and affordable to get into the e-bike scene and see whether they like it or not. But if you are a more experienced rider and you've used electric bikes in the past and you want something a little bit higher end, I would probably recommend going and getting something with a screen, so you can customize the settings a bit more, and maybe something with a higher gear system with the ability to handle a little bit of off-roading. But I overall quite enjoyed reviewing this product, and I feel it's at a pretty good price point for those who are looking for something a little bit more affordable. If you've used this product or you have any feedback and questions, please leave them down below. As this doesn't have a screen, it was a little bit more difficult for me to do a range test, but I will put some notes in the comments down below and I will try and work out what kind of range I was able to get on this. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more videos like this one. And of course, I will see you in the next one.